Hello, everyone. Today we will be taking notes on parts of a leaf. Make sure, as usual, to highlight any words that are in red. Feel free to pause this video at any time if you need extra time to copy something down, and make sure to be taking notes on this in your notebook while you're watching the video. Lastly, make sure that this title is in your table of contents. So first off, we will be talking about just kind of zooming in on a portion of a leaf. So if you can see over here, if you can think like I chopped this leaf in half, and then I'm taking a cross section, so a little rectangular part of the leaf out and zooming in on it. And so first up, we are going to be talking about the cuticle. So the cuticle on a leaf is a waxy covering on the outside surface of the leaf. So you can see that over here. It's above the leaf over here, the waxy cuticle. If you can kind of see it down here, this thin layer at the bottom of the leaf as well. So the big function of this is to prevent water loss from within the leaf, so it helps keep water inside the leaf so that it can use it to do things like photosynthesis. Um, just a quick note, plants that live entirely underwater actually don't have a cuticle, but all land plants do. Okay, so next up, the epidermis is a layer of cells that's directly underneath the cuticle. So you can see over here, we've got an upper epidermis and then a lower epidermis over here. And so kind of embedded through the epidermis are these cells called guard cells. So guard cells are these special cells that control the opening and closing of something called the stomata, which are tiny holes that are within the epidermis, again, inside kind of the guard or between the guard cells. So the function of the stomata is to allow exchange of gases in and out of our leaf. And so the stomata will open and close based on availability of like water, actually. So if the leaf is full of water and water loss is okay, the stomata, which you can kind of see over here between the guard cells, they will be open versus if the times are a little bit drier, plants will actually close their stomata to prevent the loss of water in the form of water vapor from inside the plant. So you can see again the stomata over here, or stomata is plural, stoma is singular. It's kind of a hole. It's not a cell. It's a hole between the guard cells. So you can see over here, if you were looking from, if this is a leaf, if you were looking from underneath the leaf, you would kind of see this visual that's on the bottom right picture of the slide. So these two cells would be your guard cells, and the stoma or stomata plural is the hole under or in between them. So you can kind of think of the guard cells, they're kind of clasped like this, and so they close to prevent water loss in the form of gases, so water vapor loss, or prevent loss of carbon dioxide or oxygen. And then when they open, the plants can exchange gases with the outside environment. All right, so next up, we are going to talk about veins in plants. So veins are, you've probably seen them in leaves. So here's an example of a real life leaf. All of these little imprints you can see on the leaf are veins. You can see a better picture of veins on a leaf over here. Veins also run up and down the stem of the plant over here from bottom to top. Um, Inside veins, you have a lot of different types of cells and structures. So the most important one is the vascular bundle. So you'll have to kind of add to your notes that all three of these structures are considered together to be part of the vascular bundle. The vascular bundle helps move food and water throughout your plant. So veins are part of the vascular bundle. And so you can see in the vascular bundle inside veins, you've got water that moves from the roots, water and minerals from the roots all the way up through the plant. So water moves up through the roots into all other parts of the plant to help the plant do photosynthesis. It moves through the structure in the veins or vascular bundle called xylem. Phloem, on the other hand, it's similar to xylem, but it transports food for the plant instead. Remember that plant food is sugar. And so photosynthesis, if you guys remember, produces food for the plant, meaning sugar. Photosynthesis takes light from the sun, carbon dioxide from the air, and water from the ground, and it uses this water and carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide and water molecules get rearranged. By using the energy from the sun, they get rearranged into glucose, which is sugar, which is food for the plant. So that usually happens in plant leaves, and then that sugar will get moved all around toward through the plant, because remember, every part of the plant actually needs sugar, because sugars like glucose are what fuel our mitochondria and let us make ATP energy, which is what every part of every living organism needs to survive. And over here, we can see kind of a different view of our vascular bundle and xylem and phloem. So if you think about, like, just if you take a cross section of where my cursor is in our sunflower, if you just were to chop that stem in half right over here and look top down at the stem, this is what xylem and phloem actually look like if you look down at a vein. All right, so next up, we are going to be looking at the mesophyll of plants. So this is an area that is the center layer of cells in the middle of leaves. Cells in this area generally have a lot of chloroplasts in them, so it's in this layer of our leaf that photosynthesis really takes place. So you can see over here, our mesophyll is actually packed or split into two layers, the palisade mesophyll and the spongy mesophyll. So the palisade layer, if you can think of like the picture on the screen, this is our leaf. The palisade layer is higher up on the leaf. It's closer to the sun, versus the spongy mesophyll is lower, not as close to the sun. And so the palisade layer, it's right below the upper epidermis, and it has these cells that are really packed full of chloroplasts, which makes sense because this layer is closer to the sun and can therefore do photosynthesis more readily, since photosynthesis requires energy from the sun, and this layer is closer to the sun. The spongy layer, on the other hand, it's below the palisade mesophyll. It still has cells in this layer, still have chloroplasts, and so they still do photosynthesis, but they do photosynthesis a little bit less than cells in the palisade mesophyll. So you can see that here. So palisade mesophyll versus these cells are in the spongy mesophyll. All right, so next up we've got air spaces. So air spaces are between the spongy mesophyll cells. Remember that spongy mesophyll cells, they're pretty loosely packed. And so all of these air spaces you can see over here where there don't appear to be any cells, over here on the screen, those are all air spaces that allows for exchange of gases with the environment. So for example, photosynthesis needs carbon dioxide in order to make sugars for our plant. So carbon dioxide will come in through the stoma from the outside environment. It'll go into the spongy layer where cells can absorb it. And then after photosynthesis is over, photosynthesis releases or makes glucose, but it also makes oxygen. So the oxygen is actually considered a waste product for our plant. So a lot of the oxygen will go back out into the spongy layer and then back out through the stoma, through the air spaces, or go out from the spongy mesophyll into the air spaces, and then from the air spaces out through the stoma back into our environment. All right, that's all. Have a great day.